explain ETS. So students, ETS is a electron transport system. So here students, we have learnt about the aerobic respiration. In that we learned the different stages like glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and during this process along with ATP, NADH and FADH2 were formed. Now in the electron transport system, the NADH and FADH will be oxidized, and during this process ATP will be synthesized. So now let us learn about the electron transport system and how the energy which is present in the NADH and FADH2 will be converted into ATP. Now before that, let us understand about the structure of the inner mitochondrial membrane. Now this is inner mitochondrial membrane which houses a series of electron carriers and proteins. Now the first one is NADH dehydrogenase, ubiquinone, and the second one is cytochrome BC1. This is cytochrome C and cytochrome oxidase, and then there is a ATP synthetase complex. Now the electrons released from NADH will be passed by these set of proteins present on the plasma membrane, and that is why this system is called as electron transport chain or electron transport system. So here, as I told, it is located in the inner mitochondrial membrane. The energy which is stored in NADH and FADH2 will be released by electron transport system. So in the first stage, the NADH which is formed during glycolysis and citric acid cycle gets oxidized by NADH dehydrogenase complex 1. So here we can see the NADH and H plus binds to NADH dehydrogenase complex, this whole thing, and here oxidation takes place, and during oxidation hydrogen are released. So the hydrogen contains electrons and protons. The electrons are accepted by the protein and it will be transported to the next one, that is ubiquinone and cytochrome BC, cytochrome C, cytochrome C oxidase in the same way. So we can follow this line through to see where the electron moves. And the hydrogen which is released, so this is the matrix present inside the mitochondria, and this region is the intermembrane space which is present between the two membrane of the mitochondria, the outer membrane and inner membrane. The hydrogen ions which is released from the NADH and H plus will be transported from the matrix into the intermembrane space. And similarly, the FADH2 binds to unibiquinone. So here we can see the FADH2 binds to unibiquinone. And the electrons from this will be transported to cytochrome BC1, cytochrome C and cytochrome C oxidase. So every NADH and FADH binds here, gets oxidized, releasing hydrogen ions or releasing hydrogen. Hydrogen contains protons and electrons. Electrons will be transported to a series of protein carriers present on the mitochondrial membrane, and hydrogen ions will be transported from the matrix to the exterior. And finally, the electrons which is being transported through the chain will be accepted by the oxygen. So along with the hydrogen ions combine to form water. So the final acceptor of electron is oxygen. So that is why for aerobic respiration oxygen is required. So this oxygen combines with water to form water. It combines with hydrogen ions to form water. So and now the remaining hydrogen ions which has been transported outside will again re-enter into the matrix through a channel called as ATP synthetase complex. So when more of protons enter into the cell, this energy will be utilized to form ATP. So this process is called as chemiosmosis. So the protons are pumped inside the matrix through the ATP synthetase complex, and the energy obtained during this process will be used in the synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. During the electron transport system, ATP will be formed. And how many ATP formed depends upon the type of molecule which is getting oxidized. If NADH is getting oxidized, 2 ATP molecules will be formed. And if FADH2 is getting oxidized, 3 ATP molecule will be formed. So students, this is about the electron transport system. So in electron transport system, the FADH2 and NADH is getting oxidized, and during oxidation, electrons will be released. The electrons are carried through a series of transport proteins present on the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Finally, the electron is accepted by oxygen. It combines with other protons, hydrogen ions to form water molecule. And the protons which has been transported outside to the intermembrane space enters into the matrix through ATP complex. So during this process, the energy which is formed will be utilized to convert ADP into ATP. So that is why we call the system as electron transport system.